Good evening, good evening. Well, here we are. We are closing out the day out of time. I think that was today. And that, of course, aligns to the Mayan calendar, where, in a way, it's just another cycle or another series of cycles where everything doesn't add up to the original. So, yeah. So the due today, the day out of time on the Mayan calendar, is listed as today, the 26th, I'm pretty sure. These are my notes from the last few days. So welcome, and pop your name in the chat, say hi, let me know where you are maybe, and more importantly, let me know how you are with these energies, because they're very vacillating. They are very, they're fast and accelerated. They're having all sorts of impacts. And so I believe that we are really learning to deal with these. And I want to talk to you about what it is that I've been doing. And I feel in quite a masterful way, actually. So, I'm a Libran, and so, always looking to be finding ways to stay in balance, and justice and fairness is really important to me and always has been. And this all relates, though, back to, we've got so much going on as we're returning. We're returning to the original, the natural, the organic timelines, rhythms and cycles. And so Librans aren't typically good at making decisions. We're always in the balance. We're always balancing up, trying to make decisions that serve everybody and making sure that, everything balances out, the people, things and ideas. And so I am pretty impressed with myself because I've got a lot going on. Hi, Billy. Welcome. Yeah. And so what I have recognized is that my process, the reason why I'm able to maintain this balance in all this chaos, is because I'm working very much with taking inspired action based on what shows up. And so I'm kind of sitting in the space until something prompts me to make a move, to make a decision, to do something. And I'm really busy, but I'm not stressed. So I wanted to just speak to that, and we'll see what comes in the notes. So I've got notes from the last 3 days. And if you don't know, I've just I'm in the throes of moving house, and so I've got to do a lot of decluttering and sifting and sorting as to what I do next and what I sell or don't sell. And yeah, thank you, Charlotte. Yeah, that's the word that came today. Yeah, I'm actually, I'm developing mastery in this decision making. So I just make one decision at a time in a way, but I've not laid out the decision. I'm just speaking to myself about, okay, well, the next thing to do is to fathom out what it is because I've been and I've looked at houses to move into, and I've been given a really generous offer by somebody, and that for me to do that, then I either have to put everything into storage or I need to sell stuff. So I've been investigating storage, which is really expensive, and then I've got an offer to ring some people who might want to perhaps use my furniture for a while. So that's another thing that's come up, and these just come across my path. It's really interesting. They're just suggestions from people or opportunities that have come. So I've got that little job to do to investigate that, and I've looked up about local storage, and today I went and sat in various corners of my space and looked around and thought, oh, actually, there's a bit of a process really for what I decide to let go or not. And then I went and did some ceremony with a couple of women out at Muriwai Beach the other day, and one of them said to me, well, she said, I always use the process of what is it that I love and brings me joy, and then anything else can go. So that's a really nice adage to work with. Anyway, that's just a little bit about what is going on for me. So it seems to have been lots of sort of people in and out of the house, and so this has been my first opportunity really to get on here. So this is my notes from the last few days. So on the 24th, I wrote, I'm so excited about my life, which feels slightly crazy, chaotic, and manic, and yet I am not. And I feel pumped, and I'm in love with my life. And I wrote in here, we are learning to balance in and through the changes, and how I have been demonstrating that only to myself is by dealing with what shows up. And so I'm not, and I was talking to a friend today and I said to her, and she's a Libran as well, and I said, my old way of figuring this out would have been to write lists and look at the pros and cons and, have all this internal stuff going on in my head. And my new way of doing it is to just feel it. What feels right? What do I feel? And so I felt to go and have a look at some places. And I have now felt to cancel a couple of places that I had booked to go and look at later on this week, because I've actually made a decision that I'm going to move into this house that's been offered to me. But I haven't yet made a decision about when. So my next thing is to sort of map out things that are, already built into my calendar for the next few months. And it feels really good. It's really, I'm only sharing it with you because you might be with this process or you might not, but I wasn't. And this is a new process for me, and it's really working for me. And I'm just dealing with what shows up. And so today, a whole lot of things had to get put on the back burner because I had tradespeople in and around, and so there wasn't, I didn't have fixed times for them being here or not being here. And yeah, it was fine, and I mean that's fine for me always. But what I mean is, I'm just dealing with what shows up, and I'm just trusting that will all be perfect. And so I'm making this offering to you to play with it, to be with maybe this comes next, or maybe that comes next, and let's just see what shows up. And there's been minimal action on my part to have got to where I've got to. There's just been dealing with what shows up. Is the candle glowing? No, it's not. It's a very good point. If that was what you meant. Yeah, so from the 24th, we are learning to balance in and through the changes. And today showed up to me, so the 24th showed up to me as another significant day in the world. And I was showing that we were going to have another 3 days. So that's the 24th, 25th, 26th. So today is the third day of very impactful and accelerated energy. Think swirly eddy of autumn leaves on the ground. That was the imagery that was shown to me. Thank you, Charlotte. So I was shown that many will feel in a more elevated place. So let me know if you are. And that certainly we will be viewing the world from a more heightened vantage point. There's this bigger picture, or we're creating bigger picture epiphanies for many, And noticing, are you, that the landscape looks and feels slightly different. It's clearer, it's more enlivened. There's definitely more life, more energy to everything. I really felt that for the divine masculine, that they were on that day, they were collectively, they were showing up as love was beginning to lead the way. So it wasn't necessarily impacting their final decisions, but it was starting to have an impact on their process. The universe is orchestrating this. Their hearts are aching. Their hearts are opening and expanding rapidly and to extremities. And they're being guided and even physically moved to be closer to their divine feminine. So I have to tell you that I know a few, I can feel white spot on my jacket. Sorry. Yeah, closer to their divine feminine. So I know of a few examples of that, like they've like physically moved, and that's across oceans as well. So yes, that could come from a combination of internal guidance and motivation and external circumstances and opportunities, but it's definitely in the mix now, and I think that's what many of us have been in the expectation of. And I wanted to say that on that day, that we could read the energies of that day as balancing the alchemy that has occurred so far this month, because you will know that it's been incredible. It's been incredibly fast, accelerated. It's been massive. We've all felt expanded and stretched and being purified to a greater level. And this bringing the balance to be more grounded and more in the physical. So, everything coming more into the physical space and showing up as balance in all directions as well. This imagery of the goddess sitting in the lotus flower floating on the stream, on the river. Excuse me. Having to maintain. So if you think about that, if you think about yourself sitting in this giant lotus flower that is like a boat, but it's a lotus flower and it's on the river and you're in it. And you think about perhaps the level of equilibrium and balance that would be required to not tip that over because of where it sits in proximity to the water. So the goddess, you, sitting in a lotus flower on the river, having to maintain the level of balance to not get any water into the vessel, despite the movement or current. And I think you can see that as a mechanism for being with these energies, that visual metaphor. And you could also imagine sitting in a plastic dish, a bit like a frisbee turned up the other way, because there's not a lot of freeboard. That's what I want to say. So freeboard is the space between the surface and the water, of the surface of the water and the space where the water can spill into the vessel. That's called the freeboard. And that was the message that came. There's not a lot of freeboard at the moment. So be in the observation of this today as you maintain extreme balance. And remember to also keep your vision high, to the higher, on the higher aspects of where you are wanting to be and go experience. Because heaven on earth is now being connected through to everything. So I think with my clients, there's been perhaps a theme, which doesn't mean that there aren't other things going on, but I would say the collective theme for my clients in this past week has been blocked throats. So it's the things that need to be said. It's the clarity, it's the speaking out loud to self. It might be speaking the deep hidden truths. And in many ways, there's a lot of healing that comes when you can hear your own voice speaking things out loud. So getting clearer, releasing things that are held. But that would be the area that showed up. And I know that in general, when I read the general collective, that there's also been quite a lot of energy in the solar plexus, and that in the bigger collective, there's been quite a lot of energy. Well, sorry, in the twin and the divine counterpart collective, there's been quite a lot of energy in the second, in the sacral, and the sexual. So a sense of, from yesterday, of balancing on one level and preparing for receipt of the next. So that's why this word balancing has come in, because we're in the balancing of what's gone, and now we're in the balancing of what we're becoming in preparation for what is to come in. So this extreme balancing, like on the balance beam as the gymnast, but this coming into another level. Serenity, settling, and smooth were the words that came that described the energy yesterday morning. And there was this sense of that we are learning to be more gentle with ourselves and more gentle with others. And I've been like that also. So as light workers and way showers develop this approach with others is what came. Hold them gently, without expectation. Be aware that everything is being shaken up, and that first wavers are either the bridge or building the bridge for others to walk across to be in a new dimensional space. And this is deeply impacting many aspects of our world that many believed were permanent, steady, and held longevity. So if you think about the impact that that's having on people as aspects of our world that we have thought were almost permanent, like governments, for example, like financial institutions and big banks and corporations. Well, they're not. And they are very much in the limelight now in their dissolution, and they're showing up as having huge deficit and are not perhaps performing in the way that we may have expected, and in the revealing of some of the attitudes and behaviours that have gone on behind closed doors, or with legislation that has been thrust through the processes. So this is shaking and shuddering, and it's impacting the world and the internal of the body. So many of you may have been feeling that. And also, tell me what you are getting around this, but I was getting that a lot of people were struggling to hold themselves in their bodies, because the vibration of the new is so fast that it's destabilizing people's connection to being grounded and earthed. And so there's going to be a lot of people that need more help with that. The old is being shifted out. So some people have been doing that incrementally, a bit at a time, but for others, it's a bit like a deluge of energy being shifted out. And so that's what I was seeing, that people may be struggling to be connected to their bodies, grounded to the earth. So grounding and connecting into nature might be a tool that you can pass on to people. I got this analogy of thinking about the coffee plunger effect. The contents of the plunger are all affected and alchemized by the water. So you think about those glass handheld coffee plungers, and that the coffee grounds are put in, and then the hot water, the boiling water is added, and then the filter plunger gets put on top and moved through, and that's alchemy in a simple form. I thought it was a nice analogy. And so this movement of the plunger, that's what a lot of people are experiencing in their bodies at the moment. This release of the old, because these energies are very pressurizing and it's for purification. So people who have spent their lives not being very attuned to their body and what they put into their body and how they speak to themselves, all of that coming up now to have a big impact. And for many, I was shown that this presents as anger or as pain in the body, which is not a judgment. Pain and anger in the body is often held deeply in the cells. And this is the magic, the alchemy of what we're going through now, right? Is that the deeper we go, the older we can access, the more deeply held constructs, pains, and cellular molecular memory can be accessed to be released. And so it's just this beautiful process that probably none of us ever thought was going to take this long, but it is. And so the faster we go, the older, the deeper we can access, and then we can clear it, and then we can more easily move to the next. So it may be difficult to determine where it comes from and what is the cause, because a lot of the ancient cellular is now being made available in the body as we go higher. Just as I said, as we go higher in frequency, we are going deeper into the cellular memory, and so therefore we're going older into the cellular memory. So I really was shown that a lot of things coming up now may be coming up from the deepest part and the most ancient. So the Lemurian, the Atlantean, the Babylonian, the Arthurian, even the time of Camelot and of Avalon, those and maybe other eras and epochs that are not so familiar. We might be down to that. So just let it go. You just let everything go. Allow it to arise, maybe acknowledge it, maybe have a conversation with it, and then just allow it to go. Leave it behind. You can let go. I want to say that there's merit in seeing it, acknowledging it, checking in with it. But I really clearly want to declare that this letting these old wounds, injuries, pains, and toxic patterns and trauma that's stored, it's not like it used to be. It's not this deep dive for 100 hours into something. So you just leave it behind. You let go of the old everything and the old everyone. We've done a few cycles of that. And if you haven't yet, and if you and even if you have, then just feel to check in again, because see if there's anything more in the old and the lower, and then release it as you come into this intentional arising. So I want to say we are either learning or relearning to be intentional and conscious with our every thought, with our process, and with the way that we navigate the world, the day, and the energies. So we are in the receipt of the new, we're in this other purification, we're in this higher frequency and dimension, the experience of it in and out, or maybe more and more. This, of course, is all being reflected in our outer world in real time. We're watching the real-time collapse of our outer world as we clean up our internal. It's what shows up in the outer world. It's reflected. There's this real time collapse, isn't there, in the geopolitical across the planet at the moment. And the economic and the big pharma, which is what Gaia spoke about ages ago, that they would be the three that show up. And already we're seeing a lot of sort of leaking into the area of education. And of course, the banking and finance and all of that has been... there's been little red flags about that in the last few weeks too. So I wrote in here, keep in your own energetic alignment. Just keep reminding yourself to come into your own energetic alignment. And then as you do that, if you think about frequency, then what it is that you aren't in alignment with, what isn't in alignment, it will dissolve, it will move away, it won't hold, it won't have anything to hold to. So you can sit in the idea of working with that. So we are awakening to new and to higher as well. So going deeper and older, yes, but we are awakening to new and higher feelings and memories. So I found that quite interesting. So maybe you are having memories of times where you've had these incredible magical gifts and abilities, and maybe that's becoming part of your memory as well, showing in flashes and memories in both the awake and in the dream time. Yeah, and I wanted to say that I wrote in here, this applies particularly to the beloveds, that they are having this experience. The divine partners, your divine partners, they're feeling this calling in their bodies, this awakening, the feelings, the callings in their cells and in their memories, and that showing up also in their awake times, some visual flashes, perhaps songs that trigger memories, and also dreams. Um, but it's interesting because it's not a mother-child energy, but it has this likeness. It's really interesting. I'll read it, and you can feel it, because I'm just remembering that I wrote this, but I haven't reread it. As you know, that is often the case. So this is not mother-child energy, but it has a likeness in the energetic association of the body recognizing the energy of the mother. The divine masculines are being awakened to such an energetic connection experience with their divine feminine. This call to higher mission and purpose, and it will also pull and align them to the physical proximity of their divine masculine. Many of them will be pulled in that way. Yeah, so here we are moving into the season of Leo. So that is today that we've done that, in my opinion, but we've been feeling the opening of the Lion's Gate, or we've been feeling the impact of the wash of the energies of the Lion's Gate. So the lion, the fire, the raw, and the masculine. Yesterday, so I recognized that I've been singing this song in light language, and when I was out doing sacred ceremony, I mentioned it, and I said, but I just can't remember what the tune is. But today, I mean, it's pretty simple, but I hadn't got it. It's the Mother, I Feel You Under My Feet. And that's what I have been, everywhere I've been walking, I've been singing that tune in light language. So I had that remembering today. Yeah, so it's like, Mother, I feel you under your feet, and Mother, I feel your heartbeat. This is the connection to the planet, to Mother Earth. Also, yesterday we had apparently an X14 class flare was emitted from the sun. It didn't come to the Earth; it went off in another direction. But apparently, there hasn't been one that big for 20 years. So it bypassed the Earth, but I want to tell you, we're feeling the influence of those. And I want to say to be in the developing habits, because this is going to get not trickier, but more required, more necessary. the developing the habits and practices of extreme self-care, because the purification is going to amp up again. And just know that you've got this, that you have the tools. It's about being hydrated. It might be about adding some salt to the water so you're extra hydrated. It might be about doing, having reflexology baths. It might be about getting yourself in icy cold water. It might be about having a plunge into the ocean. It might be about leaning up against a tree. But whatever it is that works for you, it might be about playing music and dancing. But keep attuning to the body and ask your body, what does it need? Because we're in this point of needing extreme self-care to get through this as easily as we can. This radical self-acceptance is what I wrote. So use the tools you know and have to come into greater and radical self-acceptance. And I've written in here, breathing, grounding, hydrating. But this acceptance of self, I am this. I am that I am, first of all. But this is who I am, and these are the things I'm good at, and these are the things that I'm challenged by, and just be in the acceptance of who you truly are, your real, regular, down to earth, authentic human self. So attune to yourself and be the love that you are, and listen to your body and ask what serves you and ask what doesn't serve you. And I wrote in here, and you may need more rest. So do give yourself more rest if that's what you require. Find a way to do that as you come into greater awareness and presence of and with yourself. All that you need is right there in front of you, and be in the practice of knowing that. Be with that. Note the subtle differences of your arrival to this newer state of being. So have you let go of more of the stressful aspects of your life? Have you let go of a striving, making things happen kind of attitude? And if you haven't, be in the exploration of that. So this newer state of being of, what is showing up in front of you, let that be your guide. It's that let go and let God approach. It's that surrender to what is you, sat clearly in your own fully authentic and aligned self. That's you, and you live from that space. And I wrote in here, is welcome home taking on a subtler nuance now. So I am feeling, and I have been in this last week, it's like a lot of first wavers are now dealing with the tweaking, the subtle nuances of the way in which we behave and the way in which we receive and respond and take action in our lives, with our bodies, with the people we know, and with the people we work with, and our connection to nature and to the neighbours, and to our general cultural and geographical and political or geopolitical landscape. So this time in the influence of Leo brings many opportunities for us to converse with the masculine aspect of ourselves, the masculine aspects of our essence. So this Leo energy, it brings a lot of that. You think about the regalness of the masculine lion, and you think about the power of that, and the leadership and the courage and the huge heart. And so these are the energies. So big energetic changes may be here for us. And this energy of the Leo constellation, of the Syrian gateway, of the Lion's gateway, the portal, can really support us at this time. It can support us in making decisions and being more empowered, and in the balancing of our own internal masculine and feminine energies. This kind of more healthy aspect of the masculine self, the positive, the courageous, the expanded hearts, and a lot more love and passion, I wrote in here as well. more attention and focus and weight given to the heart and what the heart requires and what the heart feels and what the heart is seeking for this higher alignment, the heart space and decisions made from the heart. We're just in the thick of that. Yeah. So that's what's come through. We're in this time of finding a balance in a new way and working with the subtle, with the nuances of what our body is guiding us to do and to be and to experience and to be gentle and to be in extreme self-care. And if you have thought about linking in to do the goddess course or the becoming the goddess, then get on to it, because the first session starts on the 30th of this month. So it's today week. And so if you've been procrastinating about that, then have a look at the link. I've just posted a little intro video on the website, on the YouTube today, and there's some links under there. But yeah, if you feel guided to, it's in this perfect alignment for where we are at, of course, because this was totally guided by spirit that I do this. So have a look at that. And yeah, I just want you to be sitting really deeply in your own hearts, because we're in this total sort of, dancing through the balance of this time. And I wonder if I wrote something else. I do. Thought I had today. Oh yeah, interesting that my right ear is still doing this today. So today, my right ear early this morning registers a change in equilibrium, honestly, and it just started to do it again then. It reminded me, it's a similar feeling of having done a deep dive, and it can take a while to, totally come back to equilibrium. So I noted that this morning. It was a pressure block that took me to my scuba diving days. But yeah, I'm still feeling a little bit in my right. We are clearly on our way to a new and higher level. I got shown that photosynthesis is incorporating higher photonic light now, and more of it. It's a real saturation. Excuse me. The sifting and the sorting, the keeping and the releasing, it's all part of my personal physical process to begin now in my house move life. So maybe you're in process with some of those things to do with one part of your life. Maybe you're shifting jobs or house or location. So we're here in the Lionsgate, the Sirius star. It's the brightest star. It's often referenced as our spiritual sun. And we reference it as that because the sun is in Leo. And this is a portal which brings access to higher galactic and supercharged solar particles, which come to Earth and accelerate ascension for humanity. And I've been having this kind of return to spaces that I've been now, because I'm now in this revisit of a whole lot of places. So 7 years ago now, I was on a big traveling through France and the UK. Yeah. So I'll just find my space. Accelerating Ascension for Humanity. And this year I have been shown that the codes for our new earth, so for our Edenic, for our Shambhala, for our paradise on earth, I am shown that in this gateway that we are receiving those through this gateway, through this 8-8, and that they've already begun coming through, and that all of that, coming back to it being the Lion's Gate, it brings and symbolizes strength and determination, and courage. And it often severely disrupts sleep cycles. I'm not trying to program you to believe that, but it often does because of the flow of these energies that are coming through. So we often are having access to lights and codes and plasma and photons that are beyond our galaxy. There's some window that opens in our galactic center that enables that to sort of come in from behind our sun, and so that's why they're very powerful. So it brings this opportunity for spiritual growth and for manifestation. So again, be mindful of your thoughts, words, and actions. And of course, it's the 888 this year because it's the 8th day of the 8th month of an 8 universal year. And so, it often triggers awakening this time, awakening of ancient knowledge. So that, will be another reason why for myself, for example, there's been this kind of whispering about the ancient. And so often in this gateway, we can access that more. And like a launch pad, it can have an impact like a launch pad for us to come into higher consciousness as individuals and as a group, as a population, as humanity. And what we receive this year, I've written here, is likely to be deeper, more powerful, and highly significant to our lives and to our ascension. And I want to say to you right now, to just in your heart, to go to your heart and to feel the love that you have there, and to let us send this to the Philippines because they have been affected by huge flooding. So let us send love and compassion and gentleness to all of those people in the Philippines who have been affected by massive flooding. So just take a moment. And I want to say that the imagery I see is a big ring of light sitting over Manila, and that there's a lot of angelic beings who are there, who are supporting and assisting. And just send our love. We ask and call upon Mother, Father, Creator God, the angelic realm, the ascended masters, the dragon realm, the elementals, to assist the people of the Philippines to be safe, to find their loved ones, to find dry and safe places to be. As Gaia finds her balance with the waters, which is all part of our ascension, this balancing of the waters, the expression through the fire. Just imagine that all of those beings there are being held in the arms of the angels. Children are reunited with their families. Ia toa shikana patakana, ia toa naranakana shishiyana, ata oeakana shi. Ia toa na 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 na, ia hoa na 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 na, ia ho. Calling in the divine holy mothers to assist, to hold space for the beautiful people of the Philippines. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. So wishing you a gentle closing of the day out of time, unless I have got out of time, but no, I think that's correct. I think it's today. It's very confusing when we hit the day so early here. Like we hit the date first in the world here in New Zealand. So it can be a little bit confusing on some of these dates because the energy of it often builds. I feel that's how I read it. But yeah, keep the Filipino people. If you haven't, or if you have met them, you'll know that as a nation of people, they're so beautiful. They're so kind-hearted. They really are. They are very, very beautiful as a people. So yeah, I send them lots of love, and I'll see you again soon. Much love.